Hey everybody, welcome to this hashtag Thursday Fave session today, talking all about a price ceiling as one of our sessions to discuss some profit-minded topics for you to get you more information about that. If we've never met before, I'm Melissa with Build a Better Bakery, and I specialize in focusing about 17 years worth of baking industry experience, both commercial and from home, into all of this content that I make to help you master your calm control, because you're going to need that for anytime you're running a business. Genuine joy, because I want you to continue to love what you do. And then creating a sustainable income, which is important for a lot of us who need to keep our doors open and who need to be absolutely sure that all the bills are paid and that we're bringing home an income to support ourselves and our family. And this is all going to hopefully come from your baking business, where you can focus, learn with me, discuss with me, and I can help you along the way. I'm just here for you, baker to baker. I've done a lot of this myself. It's a little more direct than something like a general business group, so you're going to get a lot of baking specific information. Today we're talking about the concept of a price ceiling and how it relates to your income as a baker. Go ahead and throw up your hashtag replay if you're viewing content on the replay. Here at Build a Better Bakery for August, in these Thursday sessions, we're going to be talking about those profit concepts, explaining what those are, different ones I think are important to know, which does couple with our monthly workshops as well, all about profit and pricing this quarter. Our next workshop is coming up. It's called Attracting More Buyers with Pricing Psychology, which is a really interesting topic. I think you're going to love it. It's coming up next month in September, and you can read more about it and you can register for your spot at buildabetterbakerynow.com/workshops. You can get it in a bundle or you can get it by yourself. Either way, you will get the information in hand. And then go ahead and throw up your hashtag live if you're here with me live. To stay in the know about these live sessions that happen weekly, you can check the events in the group. You can send Melissa Fryer, that's me, a friend request to get invited to new events that happen. You can hang out on the email list for direct replay links at a later date, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for replays on demand. So if you are viewing this on YouTube, go ahead and hit subscribe so that the next time I post one, you'll get it right away. I do go live every Thursday around 9 a.m. Mountain Time right now, so that's when you'll likely see more content. And I just want to make sure you're getting some new content, some fresh content to help you along your way. So let's hop right in with what is the definition of a price ceiling, a few examples of what that is and how it can affect your business. And first, if you've heard this term before, you probably are wondering why I'm talking about it. Because I do want to mention that this term is not usually applicable to what most of us do, which is more luxury baking. But I do want to discuss this so you can start to see how an artificial price ceiling is still in place in our industry and how you can use that to your benefit. So firstly, a price ceiling is a type of price control that's usually government mandated. So it's like a law set in place that sets a maximum amount that a seller can charge for a good or a service. Price ceilings are typically imposed on consumer staples, so things like grocery store food, gas, medicine, things like that. Almost always around some kind of crisis, skyrocketing prices, things like that. So that's when you will see price ceilings happening within any industry. And an example of a price ceiling would be something like a salary cap. So that's just something you might see if you're getting a new job or if you're trying to climb the ladder at a job. Something like rent control, if you live in a place that's controlling rent for one reason or another, or even like a gas price cap. Sometimes you'll see that where they can only charge so much for gas, that kind of thing. Now, as far as food is concerned, you may also see this in grocery stores or commercially manufactured baked products at certain times. We don't see it as often. Maybe they aren't telling us that it's happening, but it does happen on food. And the reason I'm bringing it up is even if we're not baking within that industry, if we're doing more luxury baking, those prices can still sway buyers when they're looking at your prices versus the prices of the ceiling. So that's one reason I'm bringing this up, but there's another one we'll get into. And so for most of us, we choose our own prices. We don't have the government telling us how we have to price things. So that's a good thing, but there are still parts of this that we need to keep an eye on. And since most of us do luxury baking, we create luxury purchases, meaning non-essential products and usually outside of grocery stores for the most part. We're likely never going to see a government mandated price ceiling on us and what we do. But I do want to discuss this topic as it pertains to the industry-wide ceilings we tend to see in the baking industry, even in luxury baking, and how you can use this knowledge to better plan your products and profits. If you think of the items that you sell, do you feel there's an artificial ceiling in place? If you're in the comments, just give me a yes or a no. Like, do you feel there's a kind of a max amount that you can charge? Even though the government's not telling you that, it's not an actual mandated price ceiling. It's almost like this invisible ceiling that we kind of all accept within the industry. As an example of this, you might go to the grocery store and see a loaf of bread and it's literally $1, you know, like fresh baked Italian bread is usually like $1 or $2. But if I'm making a bread loaf, I can sell it for upwards of $15 if it's the right recipe and it's sold in the right location at the right time to the right people. So there's some wiggle room within pricing of a specific product. But does that then mean that I can sell a loaf of that same loaf of bread for $40 the next day at the same location in the same situation? Probably not, right? There's some kind of ceiling inside of there that isn't mandated, but that we kind of all know. So maybe I could if someone really wanted some bread, but not likely. You know, there's that ceiling in there we need to focus on. And it is more artificial. So it's kind of like supply and demand related, location related, things like that. Also time of day, need of the buyers, the area you're in, all of that. So there is an artificial ceiling we're all towing in the baking industry, and you can feel it with each item. You know, you can kind of pick and choose a number, usually depending on where you live. But as you go around the country or even the world, you can look at pricing in different shops, and you'll start to see that, like, oh, okay, like a lot of cupcakes aren't like $30 each, right? There's a ceiling inside of there. They do fluctuate, but it's not as large of a shift as you might expect. So this is just a few numbers that I felt the ceiling was, and you guys can tell me if you think it's a different number. I feel like the cupcake ceiling is about $8, and we're including, you know, places where you don't charge very much and places where you do charge a lot, right? $8-ish for a single cupcake, maybe more. Cake slices, $13, $15. Bread loaves, $18, $20. It's kind of like the top end that I would look at, etc. Those are just the ones that I felt without any research that I felt from what I've seen. So that's just an example of how you can kind of come up with these ceilings on your own. And they, again, can change depending on where you live, of course, but also the situation in which you're selling. So let's say I'm trying to sell you a pizza. It's freshly baked, it's delicious, but I'm on the busiest road in your town. There's 3 pizza shops on the road. There's lots of other places to eat. There's tons of competition. I would say that I could maybe charge mid to probably minimal for this pizza because there's a lot of other options around me. So maybe like $10 I could get out of it. Now, let's say I'm selling you a pizza on an airplane in the sky on a 36-hour trip, and really the only other food is maybe like some peanuts, some trail mix, whatever it is they're giving you. You maybe pay $60, $70, $80, even $100 for that pizza if you really wanted it, right? If you were just super hungry and you just really needed that on the trip. So thinking about the situation in which you're placing yourself and placing your products, that ceiling can absolutely move. So we want to consider that artificial price ceiling based on how that's affecting you as the seller, them as the buyer, and how more profit can be made where people are still getting what they want, but it's matching the situation in which you're selling it. So really, when you're thinking about how can I create more profit in my sales, how can I use the price ceiling, the shifting of the price ceiling to make this make more sense for me and to make more income with my time, that usually means choosing venues or selling opportunities with less competition. And I'll talk about if there is a lot of competition, but choosing ones where there aren't a ton of baking competition, you're probably going to have an easier time selling more expensive products because there aren't others to choose from. At the right time of day, so sometimes it just doesn't work what you're trying to sell at certain times of day. And we need to also have enticing products. So if it's something that you need to talk with me about, if you need to do product testing, if you need to do things like that to make sure your products look good, taste good, that all needs to be done as well before you start moving in to try to make more profit at these specific venues. And then also thinking about, lastly, but most importantly, the specific clients in which you're trying to sell to. What are they doing during the day? What are they looking for? How much money do they have? How much attention do they have? how much stuff can they hold? You know, like think about them as an actual person and how your product is going to work into their lives. Just think about all these aspects as we're thinking about the price that's attached to the products. If you're going to a venue and you know you're going to be the only baker there and it's like a walkable market or something similar, and maybe it's going to be kind of over lunchtime, a good opportunity would be to bring along a single serve product that can be eaten on site or taken with. So maybe just have a couple napkins on hand, but also provide bags. And maybe knock the price on that one up a little bit, knowing that you're probably going to sell it with little effort because people want to get a little dessert with their lunch. These people won't want really big, large items. It's walkable. They can't carry a lot. Maybe they're alone. Maybe it's like people getting off of work for lunch or something like that. Just something small to go with their lunch, but you can hike the price on that a little bit because you're meeting them where they are and you're providing a service that they want. And it's kind of like a convenience thing. But let's say you're going to be in a crowded selling environment full of families. You know, this could be some other kind of market, or this could be like a Sunday park day or something like that, where there's going to be lots of people, lots of noise, lots of little kids. You'll need to really hit home what it is that you do. So in these situations, people do not have attention. So you need to be very clear about what it is you're selling and who you are. You need to talk about the value your products bring. So does it serve more than one person? Do you have a sale? Something like that. Because when people are trying to serve a lot of people, they have less and less money usually as the number of people go up. And this could be an opportunity to use the loss leader or the shopper's delight strategy if there is some attention that they can put to your table or to your area or to your website, which we talked about in the last video. And this can help entice people to come to your area, at least to start looking at what you're doing. Your pricing may need to stay competitive rather than pushing the ceiling because of the environment. And knowing that maybe the pricing has to stay mid, you can't push the profit up, but you have an opportunity to sell more because there's more foot traffic. So consider maybe more labor light products, things that don't take you as long, and also shelf stable products that if for some reason you make a lot and you don't sell them all, you can sell them later. So just think ahead of like, if I'm going to make a lot of product, we're going to keep the labor low on that. We're going to keep the cost low on that so I can sell it for less. And then I can sell it later if I don't get rid of all of it at that event or that day on the website or whatever it is, wherever you're trying to sell it. And we're also trying to not forget that products for kids in these environments do really well. So if you're like a classy baker that usually does really high-end gold leaf stuff, having something for fun on the table for kids is going to be a great selling point. And a lot of times, if people have kids with them, they will initially go to make a purchase for the child, but because they're buying the child something, psychologically they think, well, I deserve a treat too. So they also buy themselves something. So think about that as just paying attention to who is buying and why they're buying and how can you give them more opportunities to do that. So to recap, a price ceiling is technically defined as the highest government mandated price for a certain product or service. This isn't exactly applicable to what we do. Again, that's the price ceiling definition isn't really affecting the luxury baking industry directly, but it is affecting it on the outside because baked products and grocery goods can be affected by that. But we also formulate that same situation. It's kind of an invisible one that slightly fluctuates in whatever it is that we're baking and trying to sell in our area. So I do think we can use the term to better understand the artificial ceiling that we're talking about. Just imagining it as an actual ceiling and how it can be pushed up or pulled down depending on how you're selling, where you're selling, what you're selling, all of that. And I'll just help navigate profit more. Plus, pricing ceilings on commercial baked products, depending on how they're shifting, if there is one in place for some reason, knowing what it is, knowing why it's there, how long it's going to last, that can help you plan your business as well because you might want to reduce some products or add more products that help alleviate that ceiling for people. So supply and demand are absolutely going to be huge factors in the height of the ceiling, obviously, right? We're really kind of talking about supply and demand, but I wanted to give you the visual of the ceiling so you can understand kind of how it moves. Plus the value and interest that you are creating and serving your clients as they are trying to purchase from you. So take care in shifting the ceiling. It isn't something I would suggest moving around all of the time, but just knowing that it's something that can be pushed and pulled with profit increases or profit Hopefully not profit decreases, but sometimes. So we just want to weigh our options and look for opportunities where the ceiling can shift up. You know, where is it a better bet that you're going to make more profit? If you liked hearing about this strategy for profit building, make sure to grab the Q3 workshop bundle, which is up on the website, and that Build a Better Bakery Now /workshops. You'll see the a la carte one that's coming up next month. You can do that one alone, which is about the multiplying your buyers with pricing psychology, which is really fun. Or you can get the bundle of all 3 of the Q3 workshops. You'll get 2 replays and 1 live access for less than all of them separately. So that's an option for you too as well. And this is really a great fit for any baker who wants to gain more income. If you just want to understand pricing, profitability, how can you put them together into strategies? How can you understand how to move your pricing, how to change your pricing, how to weigh your pricing, how to use pricing to create more sales? All of that is wrapped up in this quarter. So if that's important to you, I think it's a good opportunity and a good investment in growing the business. And I know you're going to love it. We usually have money back guarantee situations as well. So if you don't for some reason, I've never had anyone take me up on that, but if you decide that you don't like it, I am here to make sure that I make it right with you. Okay. I'm not seeing comments, but this app has been not showing me comments when it should have. So if there are any, I will absolutely be back in just a few minutes to answer them. I hope it's helpful for you today. That's all for today's session on price ceiling. We'll be back next month with a new topic, which I haven't nailed down yet, but I'm in the process of putting up all of those new events. So you can check for those new events in the next few days to find out what the topics are, and then you can mark yourself as going to get reminders. Or you can send me a friend request on the Facebook platform to get direct invitation to the events, or you can subscribe on YouTube, and then you'll just get sent links to the new videos when they get posted up. There's lots of ways to get the information. And then on the email list, you'll get both the Facebook and the YouTube links sent at a later date. So you'll have everything in your inbox. You won't have to actually look around for it. You can just search for my email and everything will come up there. So trying to make it as easy as possible for you to get the information. I hope you all have the best day, and I will see you next week. Okay, bye.